Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the Self-Reliance Festival bi-weekly live stream. Today, I am joined by Brian from the Lots Project. Brian, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. And John, whose last name is really hard to say.
Athayde. It's like afraid with a TH.
Athayde.
Unless you're not in the U.S. and then it's Portuguese and everybody's confused because Brazil is weird and etc. So we'll leave that one on the side.
Yeah. Anyways, John A. John A is with us, and we're here to take any questions you have. But I also wanted to talk about a couple of things. We'll start. So John is the marketing maven for Self-Reliance Festival this go around. You want to tell us how that came to be, John?
Yeah. So I mean, I've known you for many years now. I met you through my wife, and some of this we were bouncing around. I was working as the head of design for a company, and was laid off last August, and was kind of reach out to see what was going on with people. And Nicole's like, "Well, hey, I need some help with marketing. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Let's give it a whirl." And so we did some stuff going up for the spring one, and we had bigger plans than we could possibly execute. So now we're trying to be a little more ahead of the game, and we've got a lot of things going on and a lot of things in the hopper for October.
Yes, we do. So I thought today we might talk about some of the things we have in the hopper, as long as we're not spoiler alerting anything, because
Sure,
it doesn't hurt for people to know how we're marketing event, especially folks who are willing to come on, like Chuck Peoples, and eager about the event, able to help us market to their networks. We're going to be a little more proactive about getting tools in the hands of people this time. Okay, Brian, the reason I wanted to talk to you, I don't know if you know this, but there used to be the seedy hotel near Special Operations Equipment, and they tore it down. And now what it is a very secluded, very flat, blacktop parking lot.
Really?
About a tenth of a mile from SOE.
Is that the one? So if you were coming from town, it was on the left side just before you got to SOE?
Yeah.
Interesting. What are you thinking about that?
Well, as I understand it, people who want to come to the event in RVs are sad that they can't put them on the compound because there's no room for them. And I was wondering about guerrilla campsiting there with RVs.
I mean, you could. I mean, do you know, does somebody own it?
Somebody does own it. In theory, I could get in contact with them, or we could just do it. It just depends.
Right. I mean, it really depends on how people are set up. I myself, I go somewhere where I can plug in, so I can leave my dogs in the trailer while I go enjoy the festival. But yeah, if you got a generator, or even not, I mean, an RV rolling into a parking lot isn't a horrible thing, especially if you got a big group of them that are sitting there. Like, who's going to tell you to come? All go.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting spot. I probably will try to reach out to the owners. Sometimes it's easier to ask forgiveness, but it would be kind of cool to have that. What happened last time is people in the parking lot behind Big Daddy's, there was a little enclave of campers there. And that seemed to work for them because they could walk on and off compound if they needed to.
Yeah. Being able to get back and forth is nice. I was excited when Jake said he had the property within walking distance there. And then when I walked over, I was like, yeah, you're not going to get any RVs on this.
Vertical.
It needs some earthworks from what I understand.
Yeah, it needs like a snaking path from the bottom to the top, back and forth with a couple of pull-offs on it.
Yeah, Reaper Gaming says tow company gonna be rich that day if you all ain't careful. Yeah, indeed. That's why we'll probably see what we can do. I know Big Daddy's has been okay with us having campers there, but I keep getting more and more questions about RVs. Then I saw the lot across the street with the burned down house was for sale. I was like, well, maybe we'll buy that, but they want a little bit much for that. So, okay, I got a question here from Pippin Eyes. My goodness, who would miss the chance to learn from Joel Salatin? Question: if a dude has never processed any animal and may or may not be queasy at the sight of blood, should a dude still attend?
To the whole festival or the chicken processing workshop?
Chicken processing workshop, which is Monday.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Why, John?
Well, so I was that guy that had never seen the sight of blood and we went and did one of these. There's something. It's different than you would think it is. It's in person, especially. Like if I don't like watching medical shows on TV. I'm like, ugh. But for whatever reason, there's something a little more solemn about, especially when you're working with the right group of people, about going through and processing that animal, and especially when you see the steps of the chicken. The blood is a very teeny part of it, and if that really irks you, then turn away from the killing cone, and you can watch the rest of the process. And there's really very little blood. I mean, the evisceration at part of the very end when you're taking out the guts, okay, yeah, but it's all in all, the process is not something where it's very controlled, it's contained, it's clean, and it's one of those things that once you see those steps, you're like, I can do that. And you may not be the person that wants to do that all the time. And I think Joel Salatin would even say if you're doing it all the time, you probably get desensitized to it. It's not healthy. But if it's good knowing that you, one, know the steps, and two, you could pick it up and take it on if you had to.
What are your thoughts on that, Brian?
I learned from Joel and Daniel, not live. I wish I could have watched them live, but before I even had to process a chicken, I was trying to watch videos on how to do it. I found one particular video of Joel doing it at a Mother Earth fair, maybe, and then Daniel doing it on farm and also with rabbits. And I watched those videos over and over. It would have been, if it was a VHS tape, it would have probably broke. They just know what they're doing, and they know how to teach it, and they make it simple and effective, and he makes it look super easy, but one batch of chickens and you're almost there because he's just good at teaching it. So take advantage of that. If you can do it in person, do it. Yeah.
And the way that's going to go down is he's doing the demo. Brett, chef, and I are walking everybody through after the demo. At some point midway through the day, Joel does need to go catch his flight. But I thought it would be great to learn from the man himself on that one. I'm very good at helping people who are queasy about unaliving a chicken, unalive the chicken. And I think it's because I do have sympathy for that situation. I'm not like, hey, you don't have big enough nuts if you don't, process a chicken or whatever. It hits everybody differently, and the more you do it, the easier it does get. But there is never a time when I don't appreciate the life that I am taking when I process an animal. And I think sometimes just acknowledging that it's hard to people and it's okay for it to be hard is good, because once you get to the point where you can process an animal, that's the thing that keeps a lot of people from raising their own food. Because they know at some point there's the end of the line. I got to take this goat to the butcher or whatever. And that's not a happy day on anybody's farm, I don't think.
I got a question for you, Nicole. What's the oddest thing you've ever been asked about the chicken processing process by someone that didn't know?
I don't know that I've ever been asked anything odd.
I got asked one time if you scald them alive.
What? No. I was thinking you were going to go for the chicken with the head cut off trope, right?
That really does happen.
It does. But
the first time I processed chickens, Mark was doing it, and I was scalding them and he was taking their heads all the way off. And he takes the head off one, and it ran across the yard. This is our first time. We both scream, and it jumped into the scalding pot.
Ta-da!
And I was like, well, that they really do run around with their heads cut off. So yeah.
Yeah. We were sending him videos of the process because I had built a scalder and all this, and she writes back and says, "Did you just put that in there alive?" I'm like, No. No, we do not. Nope. We take care of that first, very painlessly and effectively.
Yeah, okay. But I think that's interesting. If people didn't, if you just showed up and you had that equipment there and you had a live chicken.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, right? So, I mean, that is one of the benefits of learning from somebody like Joel. I mean, I did the same thing like Brian. I learned from a lot of videos, and then I had the benefit of friends who were raising meat birds let us come over, and Whitney and I went and we did processed 20 birds with them.
Mhm.
You know, so it got more than just the I did it once, but like here's the actual steps of doing it for real. And you learn a lot just doing it too. You know, the videos get you a long way there, and you have an idea of all the things that are happening, but figuring out, oh, this is a more efficient way to slice in the killing cone as a, you know, instead of stabbing or cutting, what's the best way to do it? Having someone there just to guide you and
Yeah.
being able to learn that process is crucial.
Taking your time, and if you're having to do it by yourself and you've only watched videos, is taking your time and actually looking at what you're doing instead of being like, oh my god, I got to rush through it and do it all fast. Like,
No.
Never
rush.
explore, like definitely learn the animal, and then once you learn the animal, it's a no-brainer at that point because you can basically just feel it out.
Yeah. Now we've decided processing chickens with 2 people minimum is ideal. Like I can process a chicken and cook it for dinner. Usually I don't want it for dinner after I've processed a chicken. I'd rather have it the next day. That's just because that feather smell gets up in your nose and you're like, yeah, beef sounds really good tonight. But the way we do it here is one person is unaliving them, and then they, you know, like, so Tactical will unalive it. Then I will scald it and pluck it and put it on ice. And we do that cycle until he dispatches the last one. And then I move to the evisceration station and he cleans up the scalder and the plucker while I'm eviscerating because his hands, he's a really tall dude. His hands are like, they don't fit in there very well. So I can eviscerate a probably 2 to 3 chickens to his one. You have that same issue? Yeah. So he does all that cleanup, then that's all sterilized by the time it's time to start packing them and getting them ready. So
I did everything except the evisceration. Then Corey did that, and she, like, I would run the whole cycle, and by the time I got back with the next one, she was ready for it. Like, she was covering the process by doing it. I was very appreciative because I have big hands also, and they don't fit inside meat birds. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the thing. That's why we've divided it up that way. I mean, I don't mind unaliving the chickens now. When I did the turkey processing workshop here, I could tell because our turkeys were too big for cones. So we got to the chopping block with my cleaver, and I could tell by how somebody was holding that cleaver if they were going to get that head cut off or not. And they would go wham, and then what would happen is his hand would come from behind him. It would be my hand, and I would just push really hard down because it was a very sharp cleaver so that it was instant, and then that was better for them. But that was a interesting day. The day we grew turkeys that were too big. Jason gets his pigs drunk before he processes them.
We had a turkey that was our most horrific culling experience too.
Oh, really?
A turkey that we sliced his neck, and we had waited on that one. It was the one we were actually taking to our family Thanksgiving, and we had waited till like the day before, and it was a snowstorm, and we were out there, and I was just trying to do it quick, and it was too big for the cone, like you said, but I got it in the cone, and I was holding it, and when I slid it, it flew up, and it landed on the cone, on the top of the cone, and it stood there, and it was bleeding down his neck, and it's just looking at me like, what'd you do?
What? Yeah. Oh.
And I'm like, and then it just pinched its head over and it stopped bleeding. So it wasn't bleeding out anymore. It was like holding its neck together. So I went and grabbed it and I dumped it in the cone again, and I hit the other side, and the same thing happened. But this time it tore the skin off half his head when he came out of the cone. Oh. And we watched him for 20 minutes sit on the top of that killing cone sawhorse until he fell off. And it was the most horrifying experience of my farm life because I was like, this is my fault.
Yeah.
Let's just for the people following along at home here. That's not the norm.
That's not what we're doing.
No. That was not normal. Not normal at all. And it was bad. But you have to be prepared to do that and know what to do in that situation.
What I would do in that situation is take his head off.
I couldn't catch him.
Oh, you couldn't catch him. Yeah, that's hard.
He's like sitting on the top of a sawhorse, and I'm coming up to him, and he's facing me, ready, and he's pissed off already. So I dumped him back in the cone and tried again. And he was a feisty one. He was our biggest Tom. We saved him for our family. And definitely.
With the chickens, at least, they're a little. The turkeys are a whole different beast. But with the chickens, you can pull down a little bit on the head in the cone, right, and then go on either side, and there's a little, there's a reaction, but it's different than I don't know what, a 25-pound bird.
They'll stay right in the cone.
Yeah,
I don't think I've rarely had a chicken come out of the cone.
And I've never had a chicken come out. Chickens are, if you're looking at like the levels of processing, right, and if you've ever done a deer, chickens are super simple, right? I mean, like the deer is if you've ever hunted and you process your own deer, it's a whole different world. It took me the first time I did a deer. A chicken's still 20 minutes, right? So, if that's something you want to work up to as well, right? I feel it's like chicken, deer, because you don't name the deer. Goat, sheep is probably that next level where it's like, you're kind of.
You don't name your deer when you hunt them.
Haven't.
Octavio, I shall shoot thee.
Hey, I have them on trail cams. I used to name them like 3 Point and like, I'd name them all sorts of things when I'd see them on
there's
trail
that rule
cam.
that you name it a cut, right? So backstrap, hawk, whatever, right? That makes it okay.
So, on a totally different topic,
flowers.
The food and flower forest yielded roses for me this week.
Nice. Are those Rosa Ragusa or cottage?
No, they were on closeout for about $2 each at Lowe's Roses.
Wow, nice.
And they looked like they were not going to live. And so I was like, make me the best deal you can on those. And she did. And they did fine. So.
You don't name food. That's right, Jason. You do not name food.
Yeah, we accidentally we processed somebody with a name this year, and
it's hard.
He was so mean by the end that it was like, you're one tough ram, and your meat is tough too because you're a ram and you've been around a few years. So he became mutton. Okay, back to Self-Reliance Festival marketing. John, what's the big picture plan here?
All the things. Well, this is the funny thing, right? There's marketing's a lot of spitballing, and especially with a kind of we're kind of still feeling out the things that work, the things that don't. So we're going to throw a whole bunch of stuff up and see that worked, that didn't work. Some of the things we did in the spring. One of these is like the live streams. And the emails that go out weekly that kind of introduce the speakers as they sign up, and we've had those people announced. Some of those things are going to be the same again, right? We are going to be doing some video. I'm going to be I'm only about an hour from Joel here in Virginia, so I'm going to be heading over there and doing a little filming with him in June, and we'll have some Joel Salatin SRF cool videos, and we've got a whole bunch of other stuff with. A lot of this stuff is just kind of looking at like, we need more information on this thing. Let's see how that goes. So if you look at the overall plan, right, we've got the website, which Scott did a great job. Liberty Lab, team built that out. And, we're going to update that. We're going to have our regular emails that go out. We're going to have our speaker support kit that we're putting together. So that's going to be a kit of parts that helps the speakers promote for SRF. So they'll have some best practices, some graphics that we'll create where they can tweak them a little bit or things of that nature. We also work some stuff that's more on the back end. So things like writing up a press release, for example, and we send that out and it's going to go more to like Tennessee media, but get some pickup on that. We have years and years of video footage. So one thing that we were trying to do for the spring and didn't get it done, we're going to do for this one is doing kind of like an overview, maybe 30, 60, 90 seconds for video, just kind of like a promo video for the event. There's also stuff that we've bounced around, some of the other things that happen here, there's advertising. So we did some banner ads like with Self-Reliance magazine. We did some text ads, we did some local ads and touristy stuff. There's a lot of podcast appearances, right? We were doing things like this, but then Nicole goes on shows and various other speakers go on shows. And so it's this whole thing that works in concert. And very rarely is there one Hail Mary pass where we knock that out of the park. That's it. A lot of it is these just, a constant thing. There's some marketing concepts of, you have to get in front of somebody 10 or 11 times before they'll even start to think about converting. So being able to say, hey, how can we excite people about what we're doing? How can we advise people that this is something that should be on their calendar, and here's why, and here's the outcome you're going to get from going to SRF. Look at all these awesome people you're going to meet. You're going to find your tribe, and we're going to have a great time doing it. So having all that stuff kind of as that's the through line, and then we message that and take that into all these different channels and all these different mediums, and then ta-da, we see you all at Self-Reliance Festival.
Yeah. So right now, if y'all want to help us get the word out about the festival, we're starting to roll out speakers on the website, selfreliancefestival.com. And the one thing that's really fun is you can spend 5 days. You can do the 2-day ham radio class before. You can do Self-Reliance Festival for 2 days and the processing class right afterwards. It's a 5-day thing. John floated a really cool idea. He's like, you need to make a mega pass, Nicole.
Indeed.
So
we're going to make a mega pass. An event before that too. At Tim's place. We might be doing a work event.
Like a GST thing?
Yeah, maybe, or we're not really sure yet. We're going to kind of talk about that. He got really busy once he got back to Canada, and he had to go out to Survivalist this weekend, I think. So when he gets back, we were going to talk more about things. So, but yeah, that's in the works. Is kind of, I don't think it's going to be a huge thing, but I think it was a dozen people. I think we said at most doing some projects or a workshop or something prior. But if interest in that, you can give Tim a message or me a message. I can relay the information too. So.
Yeah, so the ham radio class is done by Radio Made Easy. It's Evan Dixon. It's 2 days, and it's Thursday and Friday that week.
And do you finish with being able to take the technician license test on site, or do they have to do that elsewhere?
No, you have to go somewhere else for the test. It does not include the test, but it prepares you for the test. So awesome. It's called Zero to Hero Radio Operator Course. Early bird price. It's $545. That includes lunches. So 2 days on site. Everybody I know who's taken this class has loved it. Just when he's given it other places. So when he reached out and said he wanted to do that here, I was like, well, let's give it a go. So.
And that license, once you get it, is good for 10 years, the FCC tech license. And that, that doesn't give you like every privilege in the world, but it lets you talk on a lot of different frequencies, especially local, which, for most of what we're all concerned about, talking locally is what we want to do. We want to talk to our community, talk to our team, and you can always listen. You can, there's no restrictions on what, if you can receive it, you can hear it, you can put it on the radio. But it is a good base, and then practicing with it obviously is, it is a learned skill. And then the more you practice with it, the more it's just going to be internalized. One of those great things. It's a really easy lift, and then you've got it. It's just a good skill, right?
It's something I wished I had in place the time that the tornadoes hit Cookeville and took out regional comms, and I couldn't reach anybody to say we were okay. Our friends almost sent people driving across the state to make sure we were alive when I was able to get a single text message out to my mom. And had I had ham radio, I could have totally circumvented that whole situation. So, and had we really been in trouble and needed help, it was like drive somewhere or walk somewhere, because you were not calling for help in that situation. So
totally,
it's pretty cool. It looks like people are pretty interested in that mega pass. I'll have to get that put together. Still don't know if Refuge Medical's coming. They're trying hard to make it work in their schedule, but they don't know yet. And if not, then we'll have them out next spring to do what we talked about there. But hopefully they'll be able to do Responder 1 and Responder 2 for people who have had Responder 1. And then Chuck Peoples, who is here, we have not come to sort of an agreement on how it might work, but he was offering sort of a homestead medical workshop, which I'm thinking might be something you can add on during Self-Reliance Festival. I'm looking at renting a second tent so we can have some more of these breakout type sessions. We have not finalized it, so I'm sort of like revealing more than really exists, but I'm sure Chuck is okay with me doing that. If it doesn't happen this time, it's got to happen next time, because I was really excited by that whole concept of like what kind of medical do you need on the homestead?
Homestead. Yeah, I didn't know that when I moved to a homestead. I didn't. I mean, cutting a portion of my thumb off and having my wife take care of it for a week was probably not the wisest thing to do, but it worked out in the end. So
see, Chuck's always so nice. He's like, yeah, whatever, Nicole, fire away.
Is there camping on site, Nicole? You said RV, you were thinking about the parking lot, but tent campers still allowed in
so tent camping is happening. I would like to get some video of the campsite, and if I get a minute this weekend and I'm able to get access, it just depends on if the gate's open or not. I'll try to get it this weekend. If not, we will get some video of the campsite so people know where the tent camping is. If you take all of the things for 5 days, you can start camping in time for the things. So you'll be there before everybody else.
Right.
And
yeah, I got groups or people from my community that we're trying to figure out where everybody's going to stay. And I don't think they mind tent camping. They're a bunch of crusty old woodsmen. So yeah, I'll let them know.
So Matt, John is not on this live stream, although he is always welcome on this live stream. We are talking about the Self-Reliance Festival, which we do at the Special Operations Equipment Compound. It's October 14th and 15th. You can get information at selfreliancefestival.com. And we just talk about what's going on with event coordination and who's showing up as speakers. We got John on talking about how we're marketing the event. We got Brian on because he's cool. He's going to be there. And I had a question about camping for him. And John does his live every night at 9:00. And I expect that will happen again tonight at 9:00 unless something comes up. But he's pretty reliable about that 9 p.m. stream. So definitely, if you're looking for John, that's the best time to find him.
Other John.
I think we need to have a meeting of the Johns if John comes, because we've got John Witherspoon, John Willis, John A.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to the medical thing, that is one of those things, and it's not just for people too. Like some basic vet med stuff is, I mean, a decade ago when we moved to the farm, I had no idea about this stuff, and I've now, my vet has been very, very patient with me and teaching me the basics. But I can now do shots on the goats. I was able to do mastitis treatment, for a dairy cow. If I go back and tell my 19-year-old self, dude, you're going to have a dairy cow, I'd be like, oh, get out of here, old man. But it's like, there's so much cool stuff. Right. But learning all these things, you really do become, if you've got to schedule the vet, you got to pay for the vet to come out, and then you got to pay for the vet visit too, on top of the meds already. That can really add up quickly. And so a lot of this stuff, it really does make sense to learn. And a lot of, how do you stop bleeding on yourself? Very key. How do you stop bleeding on an animal? Also very key. Some of the basics. But I see a lot of people buy a ton of medical gear and never take a basic first aid class. Even if you don't do Refuge or Homestead Medical or one of these bigger classes where you get a lot more than just the basic, just do the Red Cross basic first aid. Just understand how to stop the bleed, and some of that critical stuff, because giving yourself that extra hour or two, especially the further out you are for the EMS guys to get there, crucial.
Yep. And so today I did something super risky on the homestead. Today I clipped the wings of the Muscovy ducks.
Oh dear.
And if you know anything about Muscovy ducks, they have these razor sharp talons, and they do not want me to catch them and clip their wings. So we go down there, and I've got my flannel shirt on because I have a scar here from the first time I did it, and I was lucky it didn't get the artery, right?
Yeah.
Which you can bleed out in 90 seconds if you get hit by a Muscovy nail wrong or a rabbit foot wrong. Those are the two animals that, like, surprising ways you can accidentally kill yourself on the homestead. And so I get down there, and Tactical, we decided it's a better two-person job. So he's going to hold it while I clip the wings. He's there in short sleeves. I'm like, you're not wearing long sleeves? He's like, I don't think I need long sleeves. You need long sleeves. And I was like, just go get long sleeves on because I don't want to be driving you to the stupid emergency room today after we're like clipping these wings. And he huffed at me, and then he went up the hill and got his long sleeves on. And I don't think he was ever in danger of it, but I just know that the very first Muscovy duck I ever picked up, having heard everybody tell me how they have these talons and they'll get you right there, one got me right there, and I was in a short, and I was like, this is dumb. I knew this before I went down. So, yes. If you have Muscovy ducks and you're going to clip their wings or catch them for any reason, wear long sleeves, even if it's hot
wear your
out.
Chainsaw chaps, perhaps. Maybe you get all your chainsaw protective gear on. It sounds like. I don't have Muscovies, but I don't know.
Yeah. Chuck's like, yep, 90 seconds, you'll be unconscious from blood loss.
Yeah.
I knew I had that number from somewhere. I took a class on that once. I would like to take more, but this weekend, guess what I'm doing?
Taking some classes?
Fighting pistol.
Oh, nice. Where's that going to be at?
Tactical response.
Oh, excellent.
In Camden, Tennessee. I'll be near you-ish, Brian.
Yeah, you'd be what? I think we're like an hour south.
Yeah.
Like 8 south.
Yep.
I think, is that the one? Did Tim take that while he was at SRF last time? And that was one of the classes he took. He was absolutely thrilled with everything he interacted with there.
Yeah, I signed up and I told folks like on my podcast, if you're going to go and you want to be there with somebody familiar, I'll be there. And turns out one of the Holler neighbors also grabbed a class. Nice. So we're carpooling out and we sort of did some meal planning so we can, stay on good food while we're there and share a cooler for lunch and all of that. So that's kind of cool. But I'm looking forward to this. I have been intending to take this class for 3 years.
Oh, nice.
And
cool.
One of the things I'm fixing about myself this year is my discipline was kind of waning for some reason. And so I started the 75 hard challenge. And 2 days after I started the 75 hard challenge, I was like, I am never taking Fighting Pistol near Self-Reliance Festival because I'm doing Self-Reliance Festival near Self-Reliance Festival. That's never going to happen for me. So if I want to take this class, I just have to make it happen. And I went on their website and I looked at all the dates and didn't even know it was Memorial Day weekend when I chose this weekend, but it's fine.
Do you forget it's holidays?
Yeah.
Like when you don't interact with normal people all the time, you forget when the holidays are.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have the day job, because I'm my own boss now, right? So and so it's like, and we homeschool, right? So I have no hinting from the school calendar that you would normally get, and I have no hinting from the work calendar of like, see you all Tuesday, and you're like, what's I'm like,
what?
Oh, it's Monday, it's a holiday, what?
Well, my wife works for a hospital, so she gets PTO. She doesn't get holidays, so we don't do anything on the holidays because we're in an RV in Tennessee. So she just works and then takes the time off when she wants to. She doesn't need to take Memorial Day off. So I have no concept of days and holidays like that ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. I had a dental appointment scheduled for tomorrow at 4 p.m. No, today at 4 p.m. Sorry.
Tomorrow at 4 p.m. You would have been
sorry, it's today
so
at 4 p.m.
pain.
And they were like, it's Memorial Day weekend. Are you sure you want that time? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to be here. It's fine. I'm not leaving till Friday for TAC response. I get a call Tuesday. Can you come in at 8 a.m. Thursday? Because suddenly the dental hygienist is not available for mysterious reasons. I'm like, I know why.
Yep.
they became aware that they had a long weekend coming, I'm sure. And I was like,
they're closed on Friday?
I don't know if they're closed on Friday or not.
They're open, but there's like one person there, right? It's
let's just say I got all the work done yesterday that needed to be done on the teeth, and I was like, well, I can't do that, but I can do this other time. And they got me hooked up then. And I was laughing because I was like, all you had to say was somebody wants to go on vacation early. I would have been fine. Danny, yeah, I'm doing a poultry processing. The annual LFTN Holler Homestead poultry processing class is June 24th at livingfreeintennessee.com. Anyway, I was realizing it's like our sixth one now, sixth or seventh one. I've been doing these every year, so it's a good time. I always tell people bring a change of clothes because I have an outdoor shower, and if you get all messy, then you can just take a shower and feel better. And only one person's ever taken me up on that. But
outdoor showers are totally underrated. Like, I've never had one until we moved to this place. And we, at first we're like, that's really weird. And then you realize, look, that whole side of the house, there's nobody there. It's just woods and equestrian farm that is covered with trees. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Now, I mean, if it's 40 degrees outside, it's really cool. But, if, in general, just like, I don't have to go in the house, track all the mud in, especially when there's like some of those days where you're outside and it's, it's at 90 misery and you've just sweat through everything. Shower outside. Or
you like, I don't know what about you, but when I weed my garden, I'll just, instead of bending over because of the low back thing, I'll just like plop down in the dirt. If it's like intense weeding, just covered in mud. Mm-hmm. The outdoor shower on the homestead is designed for this situation. And the only key is you want to pre-populate it with your streaking scarf or whatever so you can get to the house.
When we moved into the RV, that was one thing that changed completely. I was a fuel service tech for 5 years. I hot shower before work, hot shower after work to burn that petroleum shit out of my skin. When we moved into the RV, it wasn't twice a day because we're conserving water. I'm 6'5", 250 pounds, and I don't fit in an RV shower. We take military style shower, on, off water. We stayed at a hip camp that had a propane on-demand hot water heater outside, and they had like a tiki thing around it, and we had been on the road for 4 months. I took an hour and 20-minute shower,
believe it,
standing outside watching the sunset in Texas, and it was the most glorious thing I've ever experienced.
Yep. John Witherspoon says, I've started my keto diet. I'm down 46 pounds. Nothing like your 75 hard, more like your previous Cheeto. Yes, I was doing cheating keto. John, I'm down 10 pounds in 3 weeks.
Nice.
And I think it's the addition of the 2 workouts a day that have kind of moved it forward. So Izzy's wondering where John Willis is. John Willis will be probably here. I can't promise because I'm not John. For his 9 o'clock live, we stream the Self-Reliance Festival Q&A session every other week right now to multiple YouTube channels just to get the word out about the event, because Self-Reliance Festival is a great place to come learn heritage skills, see excellent speakers, but more importantly, find a network of people who are like-minded, who have the same priorities that we all do, and band together to be the parallel economy we all talk about needing these days. And the thing that sets Self-Reliance Festival apart is that people leave there often empowered to get started on something new, a new business, a new project, because we see every individual's success raising the power of the whole community. So it's just it's fun too. I've got a band coming to play this. I think Testimona's coming back to perform. But yeah, we've got Sam coming to play. I might play music, I might not. John, do you play guitar?
And keys and bass. I can fix it. I mean, yeah, I can. If you, we could bring it.
Okay, acoustic set with John.
Just tell me what you want to do, and I'll go figure them out.
Yeah, I have chord sheet. I have lead sheets. Anyway, I always do like some
The
combination.
Sauce fake book.
Yeah, Sauce songs. Anyway, it's just a really fun time. If you're interested in coming, selfreliancefestival.com is where you get tickets. It's October 14th and 15th. You have 5 months to figure out how to get to Camden, Tennessee and do this. There's on-site tent camping included with your ticket. I hear a lot of excuses about can't. And yes, if your wife's about to give birth, I get it. Better to be home for that moment. But yeah, Chris says Sam is an awesome guy. I can't. Yeah, I'm very stoked that he's doing an album release here with a full band. It's going to be awesome.
How better to have your child in?
But at the Self-Reliance Festival. So that's what I'm trying to say.
All right,
you
we're
got
having
all
a
the
duel
medical
class.
first
Let's go.
responders you could ever need.
I'm sure we have a midwife in our network.
Yeah,
I mean, somebody's going to be there that knows what they're doing, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's a great networking opportunity, very inspiring. For me, it's a family reunion too. So it's not just, I mean, I meet new people every time that are cool, but I reconnect with people who I've already seen. And I think that in-person interaction is so important to just keeping your relationships strong. And we need strong relationships. The weirder the world gets, the more we need our strong relationships. Because those are the people who, if they show up on my door, I know whether or not they can come in a crisis situation.
Yeah. Do we, how much are the tables, the outside tables and the inside tables?
So vendor tables are $100 for a 6-foot table. A 12 by 12 booth space is, I think it's $400. Those prices have not changed in several events.
I think a group of people from my community were gonna go together on a booth or on the bigger booth.
Yeah, it's $400
and rotate through people.
Yeah, that
so
includes 2 tickets too. So so 2 of you get your ticket with that cost. At the 6-foot table, you get 1 ticket.
Okay.
Yep. And
Okay,
then
cool.
you need to bring your own table. We have a few tables sometimes that we're able to rent, but it's the Self-Reliance Festival.
We weren't planning on getting much more than a spot on the ground, and there you go. Good luck.
Yeah. Yep.
But
I'm really looking.
It should be fun. It should be fun. There's a good group of people coming out that kind of center around my show and things, and we've been talking quite a bit about it. We're excited.
Yeah, and this is another one. There are good Airbnbs near Camden, and we stayed at a group if you don't want to camp. Here's the thing: we have a Telegram group. What is our Telegram group? I should have this memorized. You know, it should actually say it too. It's
SRF community.
t.me/SRF community. And in there are categories. So if people are looking for a housing share, I don't think that's a category yet, or a ride share, they can link up on that, because you can rent an Airbnb that sleeps 8 people and everybody gets a bunk. And that's pretty reasonable too if you don't want to tent camp. October is a great time to camp in Tennessee though. So that's definitely a place to look.
All those categories are in the group: general discussion, ride share, and room share.
I want to know what the difference is between general discussion and general.
I'm not sure. I think the general is the one that's automatically there, and somebody made a general discussion.
We might need to combine those. Yes.
Or just keep it confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know, you know, right?
If you know, you know. Put it both places. Cover all the bases. Okay. Anything else you want to cover tonight, guys? What'd you say, John?
Cross post from general into general, right?
General. Exactly.
Are there speaker spots still open?
So the way to suggest a speaker spot or a demonstration, because yes, there is still some space, is to use the contact form at selfreliancefestival.com and just send me your idea in email. We used to have a form, but it's got a lot of questions on it. And I figure once we say yes to it, then you put the time in on the form. It's better that way for everybody. So we've got a spinning demonstration queued up. I think Jason's coming back to show us how to distill for fuel. I think he told me that in a live stream, but I need to double check with him another way so I have it in writing. We've got, what else? Let me go back. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff in the works. Hopefully we'll have a scything demonstration. That would be awesome. John.
Stand back.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Oh, Brian's going to do how to navigate with a map.
Oh, nice.
Which may seem like a really simple thing, but it's a forgotten skill when we get so dependent on GPS. And I think he's going to have a treasure hunt with maps. So
That's
it's
fun.
like,
it's
here's
really
how
fun.
you do it. Go find the things, right?
Weird. Brian's going to have a treasure hunt.
Yeah, I know. Weird.
I wonder what the prizes are going to be.
Weaving. We've got ham radio. We've got medical. I'm sure we'll have dog demonstrations from Joel Riles, but this time, more than any other Self-Reliance Festival, I want to see what demonstrations we can get from the community, like cheese baking, sauerkraut. Hopefully the Allards are able to come and do canning again. Like all of these things that people want to learn about, we can do.
I got a couple guys that want to do a butcher off.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about the butcher off because I'm interested in that.
That could be
and
cool.
we were thinking about, what we were thinking about with our booth too, Josh, the Renegade Butcher there, and I've been talking about it since I was down there helping him all winter, setting up some recording equipment and just letting people come and talk and doing like the voices of SRF and just have it in the booth. Since somebody's going to be there all the time, just have it set up, and whether it's an interview or you just want to speak your mind, and then just put that out too as some kind of promo stuff for you guys.
Awesome. Chris Watkins' wife has been crocheting her heart out and is thinking of having crochet things for sale. How about a crochet demo too?
Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff, I mean, people at SRF aren't looking to go buy the thing they can get on Amazon, right? And even then, we probably aren't buying the stuff on Amazon anyway. But, like if it's homemade and there's like, I can talk to the person that made it, there's something really rich about that experience that you can't even replicate. Because, I could order it from your site online. Cool. I got something homemade, but I could talk to you about it and you can tell me a story about this thing I'm buying. Whole new level. And I'm going to remember it a lot more. It's going to be a lot more. Yeah. So that's there's a richness there.
Yes, and Chris Watkins could do chainsaw use. He just has to tell us he wants to. So it's like mention crocheting. Everybody's like, yes, we want to crochet. We've got a sewing it's called Sew Easy, a sewing demonstration. I think it's 100% confirmed, but I didn't put it on the site because I hadn't had the email confirmation with the person. So that's like not commercial sewing. That's just consumer grade sewing, which you can extend the life of your clothes and all sorts of other things by learning just a few skills in sewing. The person teaching the class is also an expert knitter, and she also, I think she also spins. Like she has all sorts of sort of those fiber skills, which is pretty cool. I need to ask her if I need to bring my sewing machine for her to use though. Yeah. I just think it's going to be great. Self-Reliance, SRF could become the world's fair for self-reliance. That's what we want to do.
Yes,
that's literally what I want to do. I want to see, I would love to see it just explode into, I don't know, we have to buy more property to fit everybody near John and get these more and more demos going, because I think the real fun is going around and seeing how knives are sharpened or forged, right? Carrie Brown's going to do a wild edible walk. We shanghaied him into that last week. I don't have it on the site yet, but it will. Could start doing some competitions for innovation. I love that idea. Send me an email. Let's flesh that out. Let's get it going, man. I can't wait for regional SRF events. Letty, you're just going to have to put one together, man. It's not like you don't know how. Letty does a whole bunch of our data work on the back side because she's far away. She's the person
that's
who
the thing that
really
could
knows all the
people.
things. What?
But think about that from an amplification perspective, right? We can make a kit of parts. We've already got a lot of it done. But if you wanted to spin up SRF Texas or SRF Minnesota or SRF Virginia or whatever, SRF California, God bless you while you're living in that state, we could give you a kit of parts to help you launch that thing. And you don't have to recreate the wheel from scratch.
Yep. It's on her list of things to do eventually. Yeah, everybody comes and they're like, we want a regional one. I'm like, do it. Start with a meetup, man. Do a meetup. Everybody who's interested in self-reliance,
there you go.
Let's do a meetup and we'll talk about what we know about and share best practices and go from there. That's literally how Self-Reliance Festival started. If somebody wants to demo something or speak about something, tell me and let's see what comes out of the woodwork. And we had a great first event and they just get better and better and better. So it's really a good time. That being said, guys, it's time to get tickets. So I see 50 people in this stream. Have you gotten your ticket yet? Because it's early bird pricing right now. Now, if you're waiting for the Mega Pass, I promise you I can have that up by tomorrow. Send me an email that says Mega Pass. Nicole at livingfreeintennessee.com or event manager at selfreliancefestival.com. Yeah, that happened today. I was like, we need our own dang email. It's just too much.
We got it done.
Yeah, Letty's like, I'll help get events going. What about this butcher off? I may get in on that thing. I may have been a butcher years ago. Oh, there's a third person for a butcher off.
Can we get who's going to be the Gordon Ramsay character that says you're doing it wrong? You know,
I might be able to get Chef Brett to do that.
That would be great.
Brian, are you now the czar of the butcher off?
Maybe.
We need a czar.
Let me talk to the butcher.
He's got the hype for it.
And I think the only thing we need is meat on the hook, or live, or recently killed.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were saying. That was going to be the issue. They're more than willing to show up and cut shit up. They do it on a daily basis and have a lot of fun with it. But I think it's procuring the meat to cut is the issue.
I feel like with our network in Tennessee, we can find some meat to cut up.
I was thinking, I was figuring that, and I think as well versed as all of them are, or both of them are on different animals, I don't think it's going to be a tough thing to find stuff they know how to do.
Yeah. You know who's going to be there? It's Featherman. Featherman makes like the best homesteading processing equipment ever.
Nice.
I'm super stoked about that too.
That's an awesome vendor. Great.
Yes. Cool. Okay, well, if we don't have more questions from the peanut gallery, you guys about ready to wrap?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Sure.
Do we need to go once around the horn, or are we good?
Whatever works.
We're easy.
Yeah.
Brian, go.
Yeah. I'm Brian. I'm from the Lots Project, thelotsproject.com. I live full-time in an RV with my wife and 3 St. Bernards. Spent 8 years on a homestead, kind of doing everything short of up into large poultry. I never got into hooved animals or anything, but grew that homestead and then decided we didn't like Minnesota anymore. So we sold it all and moved into an RV, and currently sitting in Tennessee, but roaming the country, kind of doing projects on raw land properties, helping people figure stuff out and going from there. thelotsprojects.com.
John.
My name's John. I'm ejected from the city in 2013, and my wife and I moved out to just shy of 15-acre place outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. And so that's Sfumato Farm, SFUMATO. Farm.com, and just lots of chickens, dairy cow, goats, doing our thing. And then I work full time. I run meticulous.com, which is a UX and branding and marketing agency. And say hi, you know, especially if you're looking to eject the city, I'm happy to kind of brain dump with you on ways you can do that and not have to go completely, you know, off the grid in the sense of no job, no nothing.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm Nicole Sauce. If you want to find out more about me, NicoleSauce.com or livingfreeintennessee.com. And I think today is the day that we need to start letting our friends know Self-Reliance Festival is coming. It's time to make plans. There's still time to put in for time off work. Let's get the word out and make this one the best one ever. Selfreliancefestival.com. Thank you for joining us. If you have more questions, we will be back not next week, but the week after next. And who knows who we'll have on at that point. We'll see you then.